Hello everyone, we're going to start with conference number 4, the 7 centers of the human machine. This conference is really important because we are going to talk about the 7 centers that we internally have in our physical body and how to balance, how to regenerate them, how to save our energy in the centers that we possess. And well, let's start this conference. It's really profound to know that we not only have a physical body, but we have the energy that it possesses internally. So let's start. So the objectives of this lecture are to know which centers we possess, first of all, how do they work, what energy do they consume, where they are located, to learn about the possibilities we have as human beings to balance them and regenerate them, to know which function they fulfill, what is their activity during the day, and how to save our energy. So let's start. These are the 7 centers. They belong to our physical body, that is our human machine, and they are related to the energy that we internally have. Along our spinal cord, we are gonna find them. They are related to a sound of this musical scale because they represent a level of energy. The level of energy is higher along the spinal cord when we start to work with the energy of the Kundalini and we reach a higher level of consciousness. That's why we have the 7 notes of the musical scale, because they represent how we ascend higher in a level of conscience. So first of all, we're going to start with the sexual center. The sexual center is located in our coccyx bone. It vibrates with the musical note Do. It works with our sexual creative energy, and the function of this sexual center is to create with the different possibilities that we have to create with our sexual energy. If we don't ascend them through the spinal cord, the sexual energy, we are going to sooner or later end to lose our energy. So we always are creating with our energy. If we are creating on a higher level, we are ascending the energy. If not, we are creating our ego. So first use of the energy is the suprasex. The suprasex is creating the sons of the light that are the essences that are liberated and condensed in our spinal cord through the practice of sexual transmutation with a couple of our opposite sex. It's a sexual practice in which the sexual creative energy is not extracted in the ejaculation or orgasm just for having fun and pleasure, but is used to create love. Love is something higher and superior than lust. So when we practice suprasex with our couple, we need 3 conditions: fidelity, chastity, and love. Fidelity is that is only one couple, our husband or wife, that is going to work with us and with the perfectioning of and the purifying of our creative energy, our sexual creative energy. The chastity is valuing our sexual creative energy. We are not going to waste it or expel it from our physical body, but we are going to ascend it along our spinal cord in a practice of inhalation, retention, and exhalation. That is the Kundalini of fire that is going to lighten up in our sexual practices. And love, that is going to be the result of this work with our sexual creative energy. The other possibility of using our sexual creative energy is the reproduction of the species. But that was when, um, at the beginnings of the human history, we practiced suprasex in the temples, guided by the gurus, devas, and we didn't use the sexual creative energy just to have pleasure and fun and entertain ourselves. We didn't forget our uh, we didn't forget our conscience. Sorry. So we practice in the temples, and only one sexual cell, a sperm and an ovule, uh, got together in order to reproduce, in order to give another possibility to a person to have a physical human body. But that use of the reproduction is not used anymore. All people know, just to reproduce the species with fornication practices. And the other use of the sexual creative energy is the reproduction, is the infrasex. Infrasex is expelling the sexual creative energy through the orgasm and ejaculation, creating more ego. The solar cells that we expel, the solar atoms that we expel in this practice, just for having pleasure and fun, are going to be reabsorbed like lunar atoms, like lunar cells. So we are going to create more ego. We are going to use the other person just like a mean of pleasure, of having fun, and we are not going to create love, but to create more psychological defects in our seminal envelope. So that is the infrasex. The defect that is going to be characterizing this center is the slut. We are really lazy to start the work of awakening our conscience. We are totally dominated by the defect of just being distracted, being well conformed with our ego, just not doing anything in order to start a revolution of our conscience. So the slut is going to be a force that forbids us to start working in meditation practices, practices of sexual tantrism, or practices of concentration, all the practices that we are going to use in order to connect with our spirit. Um, there's always that defect of the slut that is going to forbid us to start any work. And the sense that characterizes this sexual center is touch, because with our sense of touch we activate our sexual creative energy, and we start a sexual practice with conscious caresses between our husband and wife. So this is our sexual center. Then along our spinal cord upper, we are going to find in the sacrum bone the instinctive center, vibrating with the musical note re, and is also characterized by the sense of taste, because this instinctive part of us remembers all the tastes, all the flavors that we experience, and instinctively we want to repeat all those sensations, all those flavors that we acquire, and we want to mechanically live them once and over again. It's related to the planet Mercury, that represents all our pleasures and all of our these instinctive ways of being. It also, when we have an emotion, our instinctive center immediately wants to relieve, to reproduce, and to once and over again capture that emotion, our energy that we have here is the vital energy, is the etherical part, are the metallic atoms of our seminal system, and its function is to apprehend. Apprehend, it's capturing the deep and profound meaning of every situation that we live. And when our ego handles this function, we just learn things mechanically and want to repeat those things that we have learned instinctively and mechanically once and over again. The defect is greed. It characterizes this center because when we experience any flavor in life, instinctively we want to capture more of these emotions and flavors and want to live them and repeat them once and over again. That this is the instinctive center. So higher up on our spinal cord we have the lower emotional center. At the height of the navel upon the spinal cord, it vibrates with the most musical note mi. It's related with the planet Venus. It represents all our pleasures and desires. It is related to the sense of the smell, because when we are really lustful, we capture that essence, like, well, dogs are in that period when they are chasing each other for reproduction. Well, that's the same kind of instinctive use of this center. And the emotional energy is the energy that it uses. The function is to feel. We have different ways to feel. According to our ego, we just feel pleasure and pain. When someone flatters us, we feel higher, we feel a lot of vanity, we feel attracted, we feel superior, we feel good. And when someone insults us, we immediately feel pain, we feel depression, we feel sad. So we are not the owners of our feelings. We are always moved from one side to the other of the pendulum because we feel pain and pleasure when our ego dominates this center. The defect is lost because with this center we have the ego of being in love. We feel butterflies in our stomach, but those feelings are only caused by the emotions that are totally discontrolled in this moment. We are just fascinated by the prototype of beauty, by the personality of someone, and we just lose the ability to see beyond that. We only see the appearances, the superficial, and just we fall in love, and with the same energy that we fall in love, we end up hating that person because we don't like certain detail of his way to act, of his way to express to us, because we are not the owners of our emotions. We are totally discontrolled in this lower emotional center. We can feel emotions that are higher, are from the conscience, that are the desire to love, the desire to serve mankind. Those are superior emotions that they come to us when we start awakening our conscience, and we want to escape from that force of pleasure and pain that always keeps us with the conscience totally slept. So higher up on our spinal cord we find the lower intellectual center, that is related to the sense of hearing. It's said that when we are really intellectual, we lose the ability to hear other people. We only hear our ideas, our theories, our concepts, and we are really proud of ourselves, of our intellect, and so we cannot hear others. That's why it's related to the ability of hearing. It works with the mental energy. Its function is to think with this center. We plan, we project, we futurize, we remember about the past. So this center, it's really important because of the quality of our thoughts. It depends the quality of our creations. When we start to think, we start to create, even if we don't notice. Uh, our thoughts are our actions are going to be the consequence of our thoughts. And the defect is the pride. As I was telling you, when we are really intellectual, we are really proud of our academical accomplishments, of our theories, our concepts, and we cannot see beyond that. We cannot not connect with the intuition or the wisdom that is something beyond the mind or beyond the intellect. So we need to be able to hear the conscience that is centered in our heart, the voice of the intuition that is knowing without thinking, just knowing what our being wants us to do. Higher up on the spinal cord, we find the motor center that vibrates with the musical note sol. It's related to the planet Mars, that it's characterized by the use of the force, the use of the strength. When we use inappropriately our strength, when we have a force, but this strength or force that we have, we use it in an abusive way, we are going to derivate in the effect of wrath or anger. We are going to be using our force to be violent, to be insultive, to be really full of hate, and that is the defect that can take control of the motor center. That's why sometimes when we insult or when we are really aggressive, we use our physical force to do violent things or to insult. We use our verbal energy to distract others. It's related to the sense of sight, because when we are really in a state of rage, we lose the ability to see ourselves, to see what we're doing. We are totally blind, and we can even have as a consequence to distract others. And also because with our actions, words, and omissions, it's that we produce a lot of karma. So this center has as function to do with those words, actions, and omissions. The energy that it uses is the motive center, the motive energy, sorry. That is the energy that gives movement to our physical body, to the parts of our body, to our words. With this verbal energy, we can create. When we have already created the 5 existential bodies of our being that are made with this sexual creative energy, and we create at the height of this center, we can either transform matter and be able to dominate the elements of nature and create through the verbal energy. That's why we say that our verbal energy has the power to create and to destroy. Along our spinal cord higher, we have the higher emotional center that is related to the planet of Jupiter, that is the leader, that the ones that judges, that criticizes, measures the actions. When we use it with our ego, we criticize and judge other people. other people, but when we judge our psychological defects and judge the five centers of our human machine that are contaminated by our ego, we start to make inner justice, and we start to awaken the energy of our conscience. Is located This higher emotional center is located in our pituitary gland, and we can start awakening the force of the self-observation, the faculty of taking a look at the energy that is contaminated and well captured by our ego in the lower five centers. These centers are used and dominated by the force of our ego. The 97% of energy that is trapped in our ego is here in these five centers of the human machine. So we can awaken the power of the self-observation, awaken the energy of the conscience, and be able to judge and measure our own defects. If I feel rancor in the emotional center, if I feel superiority, if I feel well that I'm really superior because I am intellectual, or if I feel an instinctive desire of well just consuming something that is destructive for me. Those are the defects that take control of these five centers. But this superior center, that is the higher emotional, can allow us to see what is occurring here, and for us to use the self-observation and judge everything that is happening here. What do I feel? What do I want to do? What do I desire? And start making justice, eliminating all these defects so our conscience can start to grow. The defect is the gluttony, because when we don't judge ourselves, when we start criticizing, our self-observation is lost, and we start to feed uncontrollably those desires, those lower emotions, rancor, hate, our violent actions. All these we start feeding, and in an uncontrollable way. So we derive in that gluttony. We don't do inner justice and deny that force of ego, but we feed those egos that are there manifesting. Along our spinal cord here in the superior centers, then we are going to find the higher intellectual center that is in the pineal gland, or the hypophysis. It is related to the planet of Saturn, that is the planet of the Holy Spirit, and it's related with the energy of the pure spirit. The function is to connect ourselves with our inner knowledge, our wisdom, and when we just have the defect of envy, of comparing the nature of different beings, we can cloud the functioning of this center with the defect of envy, just comparing one person with another person. They are different beings. They have their own wisdom. They have their own defects, and they are not the same. So the polyvoyance is a faculty that can awaken when the person starts to be in the shoes of everyone that are in this universe, that recognizes the wisdom of every being in this universe, and it doesn't establish comparisons, higher or lower, or this better, this worse. No, they are all respectable, and they are all there for a reason. So those are the centers of our human machine. The current states of the seven centers. right now by our conscience that is totally slept. Ah, sorry, I forgot to tell you. These two superior centers, the higher emotional and intellectual, are the 3% of conscience that is awakened. It's a little bit slept, but we have to make an effort to awaken that 3% of justice, wisdom, and love. These are not fallen, these are in a solar state, while these ones are fallen by the action of our ego, they are in a lunar state. So the current state of our seven centers is that they are totally unbalanced. We have the conscience totally slept, and we haven't been able to use consciously our energy. All the time we are wasting our emotional, instinctive, sexual energy because we don't know, we haven't gotten this wisdom, this information of how to awaken our conscience, and we haven't been able to eliminate our ego. So, uh, the instinctive center is the energy producer and supplier of the lower centers. Every time when we go to bed at night and we rest, uh, we have this instinctive center being recharged every day. We have full batteries, and then we start spending this energy with the use of every center. But because we don't know, we haven't got the information and to practice it of how to use consciously our energy, how to save it, so we are just spending the energy with negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative instincts, with the unconscious use of our sexual creative energy, because we haven't gotten to value that energy. We have only known the infrasex practices of just entertaining, having pleasure, using the other person as a mean to just have fun and have more pleasure and more sensations, and just expelling the energy. So we haven't gotten a knowledge that teaches us how to use consciously our sexual creative energy. And each of our thoughts, it's spent energy in the intellectual centers, our words and movements or of the motor centers, our emotions of the emotional center. So as I was telling you, those centers must steal energy from the sexual center in order to keep working. The conclusion is that none of the centers work with its own energy. Also, we haven't gotten to eliminate our ego with the begging to our Divine Mother. Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of rancor, eliminate me this ego of hate, of just I had a fight with my husband or my wife, and I am totally contaminated, intoxicated with those negative feelings, negative emotions. So I need to eliminate that, meditate, reflect, and beg to my Divine Mother to eliminate those feelings in order to purify my energy. And I must do those practices every day in order to save my energy and to purify the energy, in order not for the ego to steal that energy again. So the centers don't work with their own energy, and nothing can be created. Also, we don't know about the suprasexuality practices, and we make efforts just to extract the sexual creative energy in orgasm and ejaculation. So we cannot create the inner bodies that are the superior created, are the superior creations of our conscience, the ones that are going to be the vehicles that get us to know the different superior dimensions of nature. So how to balance the centers? The five centers, as I was telling you, are fallen. They are in a lunar condition and they don't work properly. The two higher centers did not fall with the fornication and were balanced. Very few beings use the superior centers. We just don't know how to self-observe ourselves, and we don't know how to connect with the wisdom of our being. So in order to awaken those faculties, powers, and forces, we need to self-observe all our feelings. Is this feeling truthful, useful, and fair? Am I what are the consequences of this feeling? I am distracting myself with this state of hate, of rancor, of just despising someone. So I am going to beg to my Divine Mother. Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of criticism, of despising, of feeling anger towards someone, in the right thinking. I'm thinking and feeling anxious, feeling all the time worried about paying my bills, of what am I going to do with my money. I haven't gotten an economical balance, so I am all the time worried and anxious about that. I establish inner justice and beg to my Divine Mother. This isn't anything that is useful. I'm not getting a solution with just worrying and feeling anxious. So Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of anxiety, of being worried. The right action. All the time we are doing something, things that are not useful, truthful, or fair. We are losing our verbal energy. We are losing our energy in actions that are not profitable for us. For instance, watching TV. All the time we are in a state of laziness, in a state of being really passive, just consuming all the information that gets to us through the TV, through the propaganda. So I established that this anxiety of consuming more information is not something that is useful. So Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of being that I have nothing to do, that I want to just consume information in the television, being influenced by the media. So Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego that wants to being totally passive, consuming this information. uh, Eliminate me this ego that wants to see the media, the news, and, well, just doing something really superior with my actions, something to help mankind, or something to awaken my conscience in order to serve people and awaken love. The right talking, when I'm gossiping, talking trash about someone, making suppositions, calumnying other person. Well, this isn't something that is conscious with my verbal energy, something that is sleeping my conscience, and that is also harming other person. So Divine Mother, eliminate me this ego of gossiping, of talking about things that I don't really know, and assuming that is truth. And I do something superior with my verbal energy, like talking about things that are transcendental, for instance. So that's the way that we can save our energy in the seven centers of our human machine, and being able to give the possibility of to our conscience to awaken, for each center to work with their own energy, in order for us to start awaken the 3%, 4% of conscience, and being able to uh, use properly the energy of our human machine and the superior centers to awakening them. Well, I'm going to take a look if you have any comments or something to add. Um, well, if there is nothing to add or to share, this has been the conference. I hope that is really useful for your spiritual work and to start practicing the psychological death in order to balance, in order to uh, uh, being able to save our energy and have our seven centers working properly for us to have also the sexual creative energy available for our practices of suprasex. Thank you for watching, and we will be sharing more conferences with you about how to awaken our conscience. Bye.